Hi everyone! Welcome back to Keep Drawing Charlie. I know it has been a while. I have been insanely busy. Turns out that I probably shouldn't make 5 dragons in one go. But I'm here to sort the main pattern so that everybody can have access to that. If you have the pattern for the head, which is one of these, the main goes about here, down, covers your arm, and means that you can have the puppet in 2 pieces, easier to move it around. And the mane will hide your arm and the neck of the head of the puppet. So, what you're going to need is your printout. It is 15 pages, unfortunately. It is a relatively big pattern. You want clear tape. You want to grab yourself a blade and a ruler, or if you have a guillotine, so you can just go shink shink or cut, that would be perfect. Okay, so I'm going to grab your pieces. I'm going to take the top 3. You would have printed this off as a poster, which means that it should print out the exact size that you need. So as you can see here, doesn't line up perfectly, so I'm going to get this here, just line it up. The logos in the background should help you work out exactly where to cut. So now that one will lay alright, there we go, and then you take it on. You can get smaller tape, you don't need tape that's this wide. Here we go! So, repeat that for the rest of the pieces of paper, and then come back and we can actually cut out the actual pieces. Fantastic. Okay, so now you've cut everything out, which is only 3 pieces for the main because you double one of them up. I just wanted to point out that there's also a ruler on the printout, so if you're unsure if you're going to print to the right size, just print this middle page out. If you see it on the poster layout, I think you should be able to choose which one. Either way, grab a ruler. I'm in the UK, so it is centimetres, my apologies. And as long as that matches up, you know that the whole thing should match up. So actually, interestingly, it gets a tiny bit out over here, but like a couple of mil, no issue. Like, you're working with fur fabric, it's always going to be a bit funky. Right. So you've got your pieces. Next thing you need to do is every single one of these red lines you are going to need to cut out. You can either do that with a specific punch for pattern making, or a blade. Make a little triangle, do one here, do a little triangle like that, that's all you need, and that is just so you have an indication of your markings. So you can line everything up, or a punch, and it punches through like that. Okay, so as soon as you've done that, come back here, and I'll meet you after I've had some lunch. We'll get this transferred over to the fur fabric and sewn together. Fantastic. Okay, so you've got all your pieces cut out. There is only 3, it's not many. You've cut all your registration marks out as well. So what you're going to have to check next is the 2 bigger pieces. The one that is down as the bottom, and this one is, I suppose, the top. I didn't write it on there apparently. Oh, I did. Check there. Just cut 1 each of these. The side panel is one way you need to cut 2. Cut 1 normal way, flip it or mirror it, cut 1 this way as well. The side one will let you know which side it connects to via A and B, so make sure you write those on the opposite side as well when you cut it out. The bottom is side B, so you're not lining the B's up exactly, you're lining up registration marks of course as you go, but know that the B's go together and then the A's go together as well, so it is middle pieces in between your front and back pieces. Now, the extra bits on here to be aware of. This is the part that goes over the head. Just slide it in here, the horns aren't actually on here yet. And goes in here like this. If you don't have horns, then there is a gap for you to just cut normally along. If you have horns, then you want to make sure you cut this gap out here, because that is what is going to slide between your horns, and you might need to adjust accordingly to what you have, like if your horns are closer together, further apart. This is something that you are going to have to adjust for your exact puppet. So I can see already on this one that my line is probably going to have to be cut a little bit more into the actual fur fabric so that it comes around better. So that's fine, I know that for my one. You can also adjust how far you bring this like curvature forward of the mane. Do you want it coming out like quite close down? Do you want it like starting further back? Again, all stuff that you will need to work out when it comes to you doing your puppet. So thank you, Tatsuka, you can go away. So that's that way up. Yep, be aware of the fur pile. You will have lines letting you know exactly which direction it goes. Right, I don't think there's anything more exactly on that. Let's go and get the fur fabric and get these cut out. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, the pattern is a slightly awkward sizing if you're buying fur fabric in meters. I don't know how it alludes to yards just yet. So in terms of centimeters, the pieces go over 50 centimeters. They are longer than 50 centimeters. This one I think hits about 65-ish. So you're going to have to buy over half a meter of whatever you need, because fur fabric is sold via like, well basically the size you buy will be the pile length for it. It's cut down this way. So I have ordered a meter of this so I can cut 1 smooth piece. If you buy only 50 centimeters, you're either going to have to sew it together and it's not going to look as good, or to be honest, if you take off, you know, the bottom 15 centimeters of these, or even like the top bit here, like you should be able to fit it on. You're going to have to do a little bit of work on that yourself, unfortunately. And also the pattern here is very specific to how I make the dragons, basically. The fur on the bottom one is so long because it actually tucks under the chin. I haven't got it quite ready yet, I'll have it ready when we're getting to the next bit. But what I do is when I do the fabric, do I have it here? That's the top bit. When I do the bottom jaw, when I glue it around here like this and I leave this open. This is because this bottom bit comes in and slides underneath, and it stays in there, it holds itself in there pretty well. This is just in case I need to get through and into the internal mechanics of it without having to like unpick the whole head or try and force my way through the mane. Okay, so I need to cut out the horn gap on here, and I'm probably going to have to cut it out a bit bigger, so I'm actually just going to do that one here now. Take that piece, mirror it here. And if I need to cut out a little extra, I will. Right, these pieces also have their turnings on them already. The way I designed them is you do not have to add any extra like seam allowance or anything like that. So you can just grab them and go. So fur pile's going down that way. Let's grab a pen. I just use biro because it doesn't show. I wouldn't use Sharpie particularly. I like to use pencil or just an easy biro. I also do like to mark which way my fur pile is going because Lord knows I've cut out enough pieces to go, hang on a minute, it's going the wrong way. So, normal side up. We don't need any turnings. Put up a little bit so we can see it a bit better. Okay, so if you're working on a budget and you're like, oh god, I can only get 50 centimeters of these pieces because admittedly, buying a whole meter of just this one was like, yeah, 60 quid. It's painful, but I did want a nice light blue for the mane since I was remaking Tatsuko. And I thought all white is probably not the best bet anymore. And it was like, oh, I could probably shorten it and get away with it, but at the same time, I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm taking pride in what I do, and I want to do it to the best of my ability with the best materials on hand. So I delved into my art money pot, and I was like, fine. I should really just pin this down. Like, fine, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a nice big fabric. And, I don't know, maybe somebody else will want some money. Because I don't need a lot. 1 meter by 150 centimeters is a lot of fabric when you're only using it for one part. But at the same time, I would like to remake Tatsuko's body, so I will have this fabric here to do so with. Fantastic, right, so I'm just going to write top on there. I don't know if you're able to see that, it's a bit of light. Let's get the other big boy on. There we go. Okay. Back at it with the bottom one, making sure the fur pile is still going that way. I'm actually going to pin this because it's kind of flown around the place. Just a couple of pins to hold it to. Oh, the pins want to go in. Okay. Oh, this little tab bit here that you can see in the red that's not like a proper registration mark, that's just letting you know where you can completely cut this piece off if you did not want to tuck anything underneath here. That cut-off point shows you just how much of the fur fabric kind of goes under here. So if you don't want that flap for like easy access, then you can cut to here and sew it around. You may find that opening the jaw on the puppet is then a little bit harder. I found that having this loose piece allows for like the give that it needs to open and close the mouth a little easier. It's just kind of things I've discovered as I've gone through. But yeah, you don't have to have this entire big piece here. It is just what works for me and for the puppets that I've designed. We may come back to it in the future, but for now, this is how it goes. And it is very easy to have a quick flap so that you can get straight in and deal with any of the mechanism inside in case something's gone wrong. Just get the phone light in there mostly. There we go. Right, that's the bottom piece. Oh, forgot to mark that this is B on these sides. I have to go back and do one. B for Top was A. Right. Onto the two side pieces, which fur pile down that way. Again, keep an eye on that. So we need two of these. Fit both in at a squeeze. Yeah! Oh, we love it. We love it when a plan comes together. Right. So let's do. Oh, so much fabric. Let's do it this way first. Fur pile this way. In. Down nicely. I've also noted on the side piece which way the head goes. It's just make it a little easier. It should be obvious when you actually start to get to sew it, but sometimes it isn't. Make sure you're using a nice long pile for this mane. Long pile of fur fabric hides a lot of sins, and it also hides your wrist. When you poke your hand through the body of the puppet, up through the neck, and then into the head, all this fur fabric will hide the base of the neck and your arm coming out there. Okay, that says A this side, B this side. I'm not even going to mark that it is like front, back, A or B as per usual, because it's going to be super duper obvious. Because the A's and B's will let you know. Oh, we're pushing it a bit. Let's see if I can. Yeah, there we go. Just fit it on there. Fur fabric is expensive. You gotta use your noggin. Fit your pieces as well as possible. There we go. It's worth just checking. This is just like sanity check that I did put this the right way around. No, look, I didn't. Fur pile that way, and fur pile is that way. Ah, you see, I always goofed it. Even I goof it. You know what? Let's write it actually on the back. Write it on the back. Fur pile is A this side, which means B this side. So, actually, it is that way around, and I think we can still fit it. Way, just about. This way a tiny bit. Alright, we're pushing it a bit, but I think we have to put that on there. I will always try just squeezing things in there. I don't know if you can see that there actually. Let me just bring that a little further in the frame. There we go. Just. Alright. Right, fur pile going the correct direction. Second side piece. Carefully does it. Go. Absolutely god awful looking pin cushion, which is just a piece of foam. Ooh. Oh, right A and B before you get rid of it. There we go. Fantastic, right. I'm gonna get a nice sharp blade. I think I need to replace mine, so we can get this cut out. One sec. Okay, the highly recommend starting with a fresh blade every time you go to cut any substantial amount of fur. Just makes your life a hell of a lot easier. Sharps jar is getting real full at the moment. Yeah, blade out. Ooh. Alright kids, don't do this at home. Ask a parent to. I've just done it. No shame if you have to use pliers. I did for the first year of doing that. Right. So it's the way we cut their fabric. Do not be shoving the blade right in there because you're going to cut off the fibres and create a hard line on your fur fabric, and we do not want that. We want nice, beautiful, flowing fur. So what we're going to do is I'm going to lift up the fur fabric and I'm going to press the blade through. So it's nice and loose here, so I know I'm not pressing against the cutting mat. And I'm just going to gently, because the blade is brand new, so it's cutting beautifully, I'm just going to drag it along. And you can see as I pull away underneath that I've cut none of these fibres and that they're all nice and long underneath there. And that's what you're looking for with every single cut. Now I see a lot of places be like, you have to cut with the grain or sew with the grain, and I've never found it an issue to just cut when you need it. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. It's the top piece. Oh, lovely colour. Oh, feels lovely. There we go. That one done. Also, while we're cutting, I just want to say a massive thank you for everybody who has waited so very patiently for this pattern. It is not my intention to announce that I'd like to do something and then just not do it for months on end. I have just so busy. Just so busy. Certainly not taking on 4 puppets and then making an extra myself as well. Not doing that again. We'll work on one at a time from here on, I think. So it's nice to be able to finally get around to doing this and to do it in conjunction with making another puppet head for my own use. So I'm upgrading my first ever dragon puppet, Tatsuko, the one I first made back in 2018? Yeah, that started all of this. Was that 2018? Maybe 2019. I'm unsure. I might have finished it in 2019. I think I might have started in 2018. But yeah, to have gone from that to putting up that YouTube video that just went crazy over lockdown, it's granted me the ability to be here and to be still producing patterns. And I want to make patterns for people so that they can make their own. Because Lord knows it's expensive if you want to try and purchase something like this, but if you have just the most basic skills of being able to use a sewing machine, like being able to like just you know, enjoy colour, be able to put some colours together, can you glue something, can you cut something out, you could give it a go. Like, your puppet doesn't need to blink or like breathe like smoke or even like talk or anything like that. You just as long as your mouth opens and closes, that's all people need. That's all you need to have something that you can put personality into. lots of amazing puppet makers out there who do so much for, when you think about it, something that just opens and closes a very tiny mouth. So make your puppets and then sit and practice with them in front of a mirror. And people will adore them. You will adore them, other people will adore them. It's we need more happiness, you know? So yeah, it is still my plan to make more patterns. I'd like to do that. I'd like to get the pattern for the small dragon head, the main hip dragon. I want to get that out as well, and the mane for that as well. And then I don't know if I'll ever have like the time to really develop the body pattern or not. It'll certainly take up a fair few fucking pieces of paper, I'll tell you that. If you wanted to print that out yourself, that'd be an investment. We're done! Ooh, I banged the table. Okay, let's get this out of the way. We'll roll that up nicely. Oh my gosh, scrap. Roll that up nicely in a sec. Okay, right, just throwing that around. Okay, let's get these B's and A's. These A's, B's. It's my B's. Bottom is B's. Oh, that's like the awkward side. Yeah, cool. Right. So, let's line up the B sides. And we're gonna pin, or you can pin, you can use the grippies. Where's my grippies? Here we go. Right. You can pin, you can use grippies, whatever you find convenient. I've started going, I used pins, went to grippies, and I've gone back to pins because like the industrial sewing machine I have just goes straight over them, no issue. So it's kind of easier for me to use them because I'm not having to pull out as I go. Haha. That's what she said. So I'm also going to line up so that I'm sewing on the side that has like the kink in it. That means I'll have greater control over that when I come to it. And I tend to overpin, and actually on the really thick fur fabric like this, I will pin and I will use a grip in the middle. I like to pin my registration marks first. Those are the important bits. And then if I get sort of straight edges, I'll whack a couple of grips in, so it's not too bad. So what I'm going to do here is pin right where that little corner bit is, so I know where that is, and then pin after that as well, so that it all holds itself together as so. I'm not just going to press the pins back into the fur, because otherwise I'll probably stuff myself. Not going to attempt to just. Maybe line you up here. Go. And yeah, the end of here should line up with this, I don't know if that's going to focus, with this little registration line here. And that will show you exactly where that should go. There we are. Right, I'm going to get a grippy in there. Actually, this is a very long bit, I might use a grippy and a couple of pins. Just alternate them. Why not? Like that fabric. Back into the front. Okay, so I'll pin that bit. We're going to sew it now. Alright, we're on hand-can now. Woo, I can't bother to put it back up and thing. Okay, so this one is all sewn along here, nice and tight. And we'll just need to brush it out on the seam line there, but looking good on that side. So we're just going to repeat the same thing on this side. Line these up, line that up to there, sew it down, making sure we're sewing this side up so that we can follow this little corner bit better. We don't lose it in here and end up missing it out. So you can see that it does, can't see it amazingly, but you can see that it does still have that pull in here, and that will give it some shape when it is hanging off the dragon's head. Right, I'm gonna go and pin and sew this one, and you should too. Yeah. We're back at it with a hand cam again. So, got both the sides sewn onto the bottom piece here. So now we just need to sew the top piece to this side piece and then this side piece. So the bottom should line up quite easily. The top bit of the side piece should line up with this part if you've cut it. If not, it might not be as obvious, but sew up until it reaches the natural point. Shouldn't be an issue. All right, I'm gonna get this pinned together and sewn. Okay, so that's the main sewn together. Get these pins out. There we go, get that away. So let's just pull it right side out just to show you. There we go. So this is the bit that's going to go on the top. That's the bit that's going to slide through the bottom. It needs a brush out so that you can hide the seams. You can get that done with just a pet sticker brush. You can see I've been using mine while airbrushing to make sure I get the colours in. Beautiful fabric to use for this actually. That's nice. Brush that out as well. There we go. Beautiful. Right then, I need to get the rest of the fur fabric done for Tatsuko's face, and then I will show you how we hand sew this onto the puppet's head at the very end. It'll only be a few moments for you, or it'll be a couple of days for me. Thanks so much. Let's go. Transition scene. Wow, transition. Okay, so I have Tatsuko's head furred and ready to go. I've got the ears in and it's ready to sew. So the main pattern works best with, well, it works directly with the pattern for the head. And the way it works is we're going to sew it on from about here-ish, depending on if you have horns or not. It's going to come around the horns and out this side, and then it's going to come behind the ears, and then you're going to sew it on the underneath here, get you back in there, and down here, and then you're going to stop sewing when you reach these edges, and then you're going to slide the bottom bit under here. So if I get it started, it is insanely warm today in the UK, and the way I film is to close all my windows and turn the fan off. So there's only so long I can go before I start to actually melt. So we'll do what we can, and I may cut to a time lapse of me sat in the corner with a fan on me because you can't hear anything in a time lapse anyway. So depends where we want to angle. I think I want it quite far down. See there. So we have some pins. Good news, I found my colourful ones. Otherwise they'd all be white and would get lost. So I am just going to roughly pin it in place, especially on the on that like widow's peak, I suppose there. Make sure I know where it's going. Just a couple. Make sure you don't shove your hand inside when you've got all your pins in. Cool, so I'm liking that from there. So grab the side. And the side's going to, oh, that is another thing, when you fur the head, try not to add any glue to this area. If you're going to glue around the horns, I'd recommend you glue on like the opposite side as to where the fur is going to be. So it's going to hold it down there, but you really need to not be pushing your needles through hot glue because it's horrible. You're going to hurt yourself, you're going to ruin your needles. So yeah, not recommended. Try not to use hot glue or however you want to glue your fur onto the base along here and then along down here and on the edges of the fur fabric around the head. So try and keep those free from glue so you have a nice clear route to stitch down. And if you've sewn everything correctly, then the corner piece of the bottom part, so where the fur meets, the sides meet the bottom part, that should line up directly with here. So if I shove this back into here, stay there nicely, then that lines up quite nicely here. And then the side piece goes basically all the way around the ear like that. So I'm just going to shove that pin, ow, in me, no fun. You there. Same on the other side, just lift that up a little bit. You also do want some give here at the hinge area so that you're not held tight and you can't open the mouth. So I would always err on the side of like giving it a little bit extra just here. So let's stab myself when I grab a pen. Just want the little red one, please. There we go. Right. Yeah, that goes underneath. So I would personally just use a ladder stitch, a hidden stitch, the Jim Henson stitch, something like that. They're all very similar. They're just hiding the edge. You're just going to pull it over slightly. And stitch between them to hide the stitch line. Use a light coloured thread or use the thread closest to what you're using. It's fur fabric though, so everything should hide in it, but there's no point using black on something like this. So that's it pinned in place. Or it'd be this way around, wouldn't it? So that's it pinned in place. I'm now going to sit and hand sew that, but I'm going to do it with the windows open and the fan on because it's far too warm today. So I'll cut to, you get to see a different part of my setup while I sit and watch YouTube while I sew. Nice. What, more transitions? Maybe there's a star wipe here. Who knows? I'm not that good at editing. Okay, so the mane is on. I've also just added, we turn our glue gun off. Also just added the scales on as well. So unfortunately, when I checked it back, the time-lapse footage only recorded like 15 minutes worth, even though I had it going for the entirety of it, so it solves a lot of that. But, so, the front is sewn on here. I think probably I could have pulled it a bit further down and it would have looked good as well, but like that's totally fine where it is. Again, sewn like around the horns and up to the ear, and then sewn like around the back of the ear. I need to brush that out actually. And then sewn down here, and there's a little bit loose here, so there is still ample movement on the mouth. And then the back bit has been sewn down to about here on both sides, and that means that we can still get into the back if we need to. And that bit just gets tucked round down there, and there's more than enough friction to hold that in place there with no worries. So I wonder if we can see in the mirror. No, I'll lift it up in just a sec. So it's a left-handed puppet. Okay, let's lift this camera up to the mirror. There we go. So it covers all of my hand quite nicely. I'll move it to the back as well there. So completely covers my hand, my arm, and then that will cover onto the arm bit when I put the rest of the puppet on. Just need to add now is the airbrushing and some extra black felt tabs so I can't like open the mouth too far. And then you can see my hand. So I like to limit the amount that it can open, because otherwise I think it gets a bit too crazy. Wink. All right. E down. Fantastic. Well, I hope that's helpful, and I hope that you benefit from grabbing the main pattern as well as the head pattern. And yeah, look forward to seeing what you'll make. Okay, it is 7 o'clock in the evening. I am gross, I'm sweaty, the UK is having a heat wave, but I've just finished Tatsuko's head, so I'm gonna show you and you're gonna watch it.
And an especially big thanks to those on Dragon tier and above, who are Ben Orchard, Ben Reynolds, Cosplay Fan by Reed, Daniel Wild, Denise Coyle, Diekatson Kernigan, Elizabeth Krause, Emma Potter, Enigma Hyena, Expletive Deleted, Francesca Kilpatrick, Harry Palmer, Hazel Tyler, Jazz Cooper, Jessica Nuttall, Lark, May Explode When Shot, Arcane, Ross, Sam Jane B, Sky Guy Pete, So Very Perry, Tony Angelo Toika, Will Spooner, Will Vanner, and Zeldika. Thanks again, everyone.